Okay, the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Indy,
Woohoo!
Indy.
You.
I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Starla Hutchton as Carolina Swift,
No friends.
Jenny Meltzer as Zaylene,
Hello.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn,
Good evening.
and Mark Kilfoyle as Vertigo.
There are still so many things that we'd like to know.
So, when we last left our heroes, they had rescued Tilitha, Rupino, and Trandonel, who are now stranded in the temple that they had once held the Dunutherian shield from. But now that that shield has fallen, their magic has all been stripped away. And so you have brought them along with you as you return to the Flighting Castle, which is the home of many of your other friends, Yobert and Brennan and Sequential, and in particular, Sorashana, who gave you a message from her strange dream patron, Kosh. And that message led you to discover that apparently the nightmare energy that you have come to associate with this Dinutherian magic seems to be coming from you right now. And you were invited to come speak with Kosh about it in dreams. And so you managed to enter a dream together, and you approached a strange flaming gate. You fought with some strange creatures that seemed to be eating dreams. And you frightened them away once you demonstrated your ability to see through their strange illusions. And when we last left off, you had been just about to step through this flaming, fiery gate. So,
I will note that I had just brought up the song that I have that
yes.
makes people immune to fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That was our big moment as we left off at the end of last time. Was you were worried about this fiery gate, but Carolina sang the song.
Agni Pariksha. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so this was one of the songs that I believe you learned. Did you learn this one in the Eternal Waltz?
Yeah. In the Eternal Waltz. Yeah.
Yes. And so you all passed through the portal. And so let me go ahead and put you on the new map. Okay, and then put the map on the stream screen.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, as you pass through this flaming portal, you see the floor drop away ahead of you, and you are at the top of what seems to be a very tall shaft of strange little alcoves that seem to have statue faces in them. And in lieu of any kind of normal stairs or means to get down to the bottom, there is a sort of spiral staircase made of strange, almost bone like protrusions that emanate from the wall in a roughly spiral staircase shape, traveling all around this square, hollow space. At in the distance towards the bottom, you see what looks like another of these flaming portals. There are also floating around here and there within this open space are what look kind of like sort of black tattered rags that are sort of being carried to and fro on the wind. And you see them drifting around, but not only do you not feel any wind in here, but they're not all moving in the same direction in any way.
Can I use Eyes of the Grave to detect any undead within 60 feet?
You may. And I suppose you want to know if you see any, right?
Yeah, do I? Yeah. Do I?
Well, yes. Yes, you do. Those rags give you a reading of undead. Although it's a strange sort of there's kind of an undead vibe of this whole place, and it feels a little distorted. But you suspect that may be partly because you're actually in the plane of dreams. So, does a dream of an undead register the same as a non-dreaming undead?
I will relay that information to everybody, though, to just keep an eye out and be cautious.
All right.
Now, do we want to talk about how we're going to walk down these steps, or are we just going to
Uh,
go? We can start talking
I-
I'm
about
just going.
I'm
So
I'm not surprised.
These look big.
I'm gonna take the rear since I can fly. If
Sure.
somebody falls, I'm gonna leap after them.
So here's how we're going to do the mechanic of these stairs. For one, we've got this is sort of a perspective map. So as the stairs spiral around, the amount of distance that would be covered per squares on the map grid would be distorted. But the way that we're going to kind of rationalize that is that presumably as you're making it closer down, you're doing better at navigating the stairs, and so your normal rate of movement kind of counts for more. But here's what's going to happen though with these stairs is that they are not safe. They're not traditional stairs in any sense at all, and there are big gaps between them, and they're not even or flat, and so every time you are moving along the stairs, you're going to need to make a dexterity saving throw. And the DC is not high, but the fall is if you fail. So, and if other things happen that would be disruptive to your concentration or your movement, that might also require a saving throw.
Okay.
One wonders if this is truly dream. We saw that powers can be manifested in dreams, although we didn't have much control over them.
One other note about that is that we had established last time that your dream selves did not necessarily look the way that you look when you're awake. And you may or may not remember what you said you looked like the last time, but it doesn't matter because as you pass through the portal, your appearance might have changed. So how about everyone sort of describe what they look like currently? And it might be the normal, but it's
Yeah, I
up
think
to you.
Lynn looks the same because she can change her appearance at will anyway. So
I
not
feel
really a big
that
deal.
it would be interesting if every time we looked at Lynn, it was a different Lynn.
Or maybe you just see a different one.
Or maybe we just see it.
Everyone sees a different one. Yeah.
But we're also used to seeing Lynn in all the different forms, so it never surprises us. It just is different.
Well, I
Definitely
think
does
just in the
seem-
same way that sometimes in dreams you might see a person that looks a certain way, but know somehow that it's actually a different person who doesn't normally look like that, but you know it in the dream, right? It's like you see a strange statue, but somehow you know it's actually your mother or something like that, right? Like things can happen like that in dreams.
I
So,
think that I will continue to look uh like a Kenku sort of, but now that we passed through this portal, instead of actually having like a bird head and a beak, I'm going to be wearing like a plague doctor mask.
Zinhorn's gonna look like um, himself, but like as a child and like the same height as Vertigo, Um, uh, but just, like, he doesn't have the square human teeth anymore. He's got his own teeth again.
There's a part of me which is just remembering having recently watched the Charlie Brown special, and I so wanted Zinhorn perhaps to be a rock, but that's fine. I can let my own thoughts wander. And I think that's kind of what Vertigo looks like right now. I vaguely remember what he looked like before, but I think at the moment, um, he's wearing a hood again, which he hasn't worn a hood for quite some time. That was part of his original kind of basic outline. But the hood isn't covering his whole face. It's kind of causing a shadow across half of his face. And that shadow is deeper than it should be. And there's a little silver eye that glows out of the shadow. The other side of the face looks normal, although again, the more pronounced edges of what looks like almost silver scales on the surface of his skin. And as he moves and turns, it's almost as though the two parts aren't quite in sync, and they move and turn at slightly different rates. Sometimes the shadow even crosses the line of his face, revealing more or hiding more. And his voice sounds a little distant, as if he's thinking of 1,000 things at the same time.
All right. So, Lynn, you were going to go first.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get a dexterity saving throw.
13.
All right. You're a little wobbly. It's maybe a little scary, but you do all right. You can go ahead and how about this? Let's go ahead for the sake of all of this. Let's just go ahead and we're not going to roll standard initiative. We're going to have you I'm going to like manually assign an initiative based on the order that you're going in. And then we'll take turns with the movement that way. And then, unless, of course, you would rather just roll initiative in a traditional way.
I think that we would probably just pick which way we were going, and I would actually insist that Vertigo go in front of me so that he's between
Okay.
Lynn and Zaleen.
All right. Well, so I guess what I'll say is that, you know what? How about we leave the initiative alone for the moment. It might come into play on its own in a little bit. But Lynn, you can go ahead and consider yourself as having like moved 30 feet worth on the stairs. We're not gonna. You don't have to make a save for literally every little step. So it's one save for a turn's worth of movement. All right. So, whoever's going next, go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
The distance seems too great for me to leap. Perhaps we should fly instead?
That had crossed my mind.
No.
I mean, we could.
I don't have to help you, my friend, but unfortunately, Lynn is a little farther away than I can reach.
I can do it. I got it.
Yeah, I was thinking that we would want to walk because I'm pretty sure that those undead things at some point are going to pop out, and I don't want to let them know in advance that we fly.
Interesting. Then I can try, but aside from Solomonia's grace, I have nothing to catch myself with.
You've
the
got
moment.
me, brother.
Well,
You
I'll
could
say
always cast fly.
mechanically also, Zinhorn, you can fly, but if someone falls, that's going to happen too fast for you to fly after them and catch them.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
just think about the physics for a moment and how fast someone would fall away from you. Like if you're already much below them, that's one thing, but if like they fall from the height you are at, you're not going to be able to fly down faster than them.
You can't accelerate
in handy.
beyond the speed of I mean, I should be able to accelerate
like
beyond the
in
speed of
oh,
terminal
okay, well,
velocity.
in theory, but we're
In
talking
theory.
about like even at the distances where we're talking about, it's only a few seconds.
I've been watching
Look,
too many
Spider-Man couldn't
bad.
save Gwen Stacy either, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I've
see.
been watching too many bad movies.
Vertigo. What if you cast it,
Hmm.
and then that way, if you fall,
Hmm. So in per D&D rules, if someone falls and they don't have something that is a reaction to stop themselves, like Featherfall is a reaction spell, then they are considered to fall 500 feet instantly.
Okay,
That is the rule. That's how it works.
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking of, every movie where the hero power dives and catches somebody.
Uh-huh. And that has never
That
made any sense at all. It's one thing if they're falling from like an airplane and they have like a couple of minutes to deal with, but that's not what we're talking about, is it?
right, those stairs are like maybe 2 seconds away at most.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be safer. Zeline, do you wish to fly?
always.
And Lynn, you can take care of yourself if need be? Then just the two of us.
So I will cast it at 4th level
Okay.
on both my Vertigo and Zaleen.
So that happens, and then as soon as you do, roll initiative because all of these floating rag things suddenly, and they all whirl towards you, and that's why we're rolling initiative.
Alrighty.
Okay, and then let's.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he would have failed the first deck save anyway. So,
Oh wow, they rolled a 20 on their initiative roll.
Whew. Minus.
No.
No.
Minus 19.
Also, one of the new player's handbook rules regards ties in initiative, where the rule now is if there is a tie in initiative between players, like we just got for Vertigo and Zinhorn, you just decide who you want to have go first. We don't have to mess around with the decks or re-rolling or anything like that. You just decide which of you wants to be first.
All right.
Zinhorn.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay. So,
press that.
I'm getting texts. Sure. Okay. So they are going first, and they are floating towards you. So let's see. Um. Yeah, so I think this first one is floating up to about right here, and then it starts speaking, but the voice is distorted, and you can't make out what it's saying, but you feel sort of uncannily like you should be able to understand it and you don't, and it's kind of infecting your brain with trying to understand it and you can't, and I need all four of you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Would this be
So this
considered
is-
magic?
yeah, that was my
Um,
question. Or if it's like
Yes,
language, 'cause
sure,
I have
yeah.
the-
It's just what, like, so often, like, I get so frustrated with that particular trait because there's so many things where it's like, is it magic? It's like, kinda. It's not a spell, but is it a magical effect? Like, yeah. So I don't know how that's supposed to actually work. I wonder, actually, we could probably look up if the new player's handbook is more clear about that or not.
yeah, I'm just wondering because Yeah, I've got that earring
Mhm.
thing that lets me understand any language.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so you actually probably understand what they're saying,
You
which
don't.
might be worse. No.
There's a sense here that that like somehow part of the nature of what they're doing is that it's like something that seems like language but somehow isn't. Um, it's like when you're trying to read a book in a dream and it like won't stay consistent. Um, so it looks like we've got an 8 for Vertigo, or no, the 19 because you get advantage. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So that is a 14 for Zaleen. I think that saves. Where I just clicked away from the. Yes, so 14 just saves. Zinhorn gets a 22, 19 for Vertigo, but that's just a 4 for Lynn. So, Lynn,
Oh no.
you are finding that you don't remember what you were just doing, but right now you are in the kitchen of your mentor, the one that taught you everything about being a bard and who told you all the stories about, the heroes of legend and, the brave acts that they did that saved the world. And you look up at her and she's sitting at the table with you, but she's got her head in her hands and she's shaking her head and she's just saying, I thought I raised you better than this. I thought I taught you better than this. You didn't stop to think that what you were doing might be actually harming the world? Like, don't you ever stop to think about the consequences of the sorts of power that you're reckoning with? Like, I'm so disappointed in you. So, do you say anything?
Probably not. Just because her being disappointed in me would just be like devastating.
Sure.
I might start crying actually.
Yeah. So, you are going to take, well, it would be 12 psychic damage. It will only be 6 because I think the intellect fortress is still up. No, not still up.
No, because fly is also concentrated.
Right, you're right. Okay, so but I think Lynn has resistance to psychic
Yeah,
anyway. Yeah.
it's because of the Vadun deck.
Yeah. So in any case, it is just 6 for you. And for everyone else, you hear this strange babbling, and it's kind of upsetting to hear. But uh, you look, and suddenly Lynn, even though she was like being really careful on those stairs a moment ago, is looking kind of wobbly, like she might be about to just take a step off the ledge on to nothing. And so mechanically right now, Lynn, you are stunned. Okay. And then this one is floating up here. Let's see. 10, 30, 40. And it is going to... it starts making sound of its own, but these sound almost instead like whispers that are just too low to fully make out. But they, it's like just these repeated whispers, and it's focused on just Vertigo, Zaleen, and Zinhorn, and I need each of you to make another wisdom saving throw. Okay. That looks like a 21 from both Zaleen and Zinhorn, and then a 25 from Vertigo, and all three of you are able to shrug off this strange whispering, and so none of those do do anything to you. And then for now, these other three are moving towards you, like drifting in your direction, but don't do anything else on this turn. Okay, Zinhorn, it is now your turn. You have the feeling like Lynn is about to fall.
Yeah, it's either attack or grab Lynn, and I'm going to fly over here and grab Lynn
Okay.
and steady her.
All right.
And that's my action.
All right. I assume you are, standing now on the step with her to
Yeah.
hold her in place. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, she is just glassy-eyed, staring at nothing. Maybe. Well, I was going to say, since Lynn, you kind of didn't have any words to say back. I think you maybe have just like a tear going down your cheek or something, but she's just staring into nothing, and she's just totally unaware of what's happening. And so you can certainly, you're essentially using your action to grapple her, but if you have a bonus action or something, you could do that.
Do I have a bonus action? I probably do, but it's probably so once per long rest, I can gain temporary flight for 10 minutes. Are we using that, or I don't know?
I mean, we kind of, that's, this is a thing that would be a feature that would matter more if we hadn't kind of just already house ruled that you have wings that you can fly with.
Okay, so I'm going to use Lesser Restoration on Lynn
Okay.
as a bonus action, and see if we can't get her back in the fight.
Sure.
And I'm going to cast that at second level.
Okay. All right. So it would appear that whatever's happening is not something that your spell is capable of clearing up.
Or at least that spell.
Well, also, actually, that is a bonus action. For some reason,
It is a bonus action, yeah.
Has Lesser Restoration always been a bonus action? That's interesting. I didn't realize that. Anyway, that's fine.
Don't remember.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It is a bonus action right now, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so that makes it your turn, Vertigo.
Right.
I will say you noticed too that again when Zinhorn cast the Lesser Restoration, several of these strange spirits kind of suddenly turned to look at him.
Unfortunate.
I think then that, and I don't know how we're counting distance in a way because it's distorted and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I would say just go ahead and assume it's still, the standard 5-foot squares.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of those are bonus. Well, sort of. I think probably just sprinting. So fly sprinting.
Okay.
Tung, tung, tung. And you should be able to go all the way around to the other side.
Okay. But you are making a point to stay above the stairs, because you theoretically could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
You're
if
going
at any
around like
point-
to avoid passing through any melee range, I suppose, right?
Well, there's that, and if the spell ever gets disrupted, he falls.
Sure.
So if he's standing over a stair at the moment,
You know what?
it's a little more safe.
That is a completely valid strategy. Okay, cool. So that was your
and
action
then-
to dash.
Yep, and that's it.
Okay, great. Zaleen.
Um, they are not within 30 feet of us yet, right?
Well, I mean, a couple of them are. Note that they have because just of the shape of the art that I used, they have kind of a like a 1 by 2 shape, but think of them as large.
Okay. I was gonna do turn undead.
Okay. I would say that the two closest to you would be within 30 feet of you, is what I would say.
Okay. So I will do that, and then they
They have
they must now spend their turn trying to move as far away from me as possible. They can't willingly move to a space within 30
they
feet of
they
me.
do make a save though, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
wisdom.
Okay. So for the right hand one first, that's a 15.
Fail.
And oh, you know what? Hang on. That first one actually, I did a wisdom check, not their regular save. Which so that first one, that 15 should be an 18, but
Fail.
the other one it shows as an 8, but should be an 11. But that would certainly fail. But the 18 saves.
It fails.
Oh, the 18. Oh, good job. All right.
My
So yeah,
save DC is 19 now.
look at you guys, high level and everything. Okay, yeah. So, both of those would be turned, and so that means on their turn, or do they use their reaction to move right away?
Let me check again real quick. Um, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. They must spend their turn trying to
Right.
move away.
Yeah. So nothing happens right now, but on their turn. Yeah. Okay.
No, but for its action, it can only use the dash or try
Mhm.
to escape.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. All right.
And then I think I am going to move
Mm-hmm.
and try to catch up. So that's a dex save, you said?
Well, you have fly on you though, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
could just fly up there to them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
There-
so Vertigo went twice as far because he dashed, but you could get 60 feet, which would be about halfway.
Oh, I could do 60.
That's
Is there-
what the fly
because of the
speed is
fly?
for fly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will go to like right here.
Okay. All right. Lynn, you are still in the kitchen, and the like the shame that you're feeling, the frustration, the upset you're feeling. Maybe I shouldn't put words to that. You could tell me how you would be feeling, but you're kind of just flooded with that emotion. But then when you sort of look up again, instead of the kindly woman who taught you how to be a bard, it is one of these undead things, and you suddenly sort of snap back to awareness and realize your foot is extended over nothing, and it's only Zinhorn's hands on your shoulders that stops you from just going over. And that is the end of your turn, but you are no longer stunned.
Well, you know what's really dumb is that I just realized, I just remembered that I have the teleport spell, so I could have just like, boom, down to the bottom.
Well, maybe. It was casting magic that seemed to attract these things' attention.
Mm.
But, you can try it.
Yep.
Yep. But yes, so you are no longer stunned, but that happened at the end of your turn. Okay, so we are back at the top, and it is these things' turn. The two that are turned are going to 20, 30, 40. Yeah, are basically flying all the way, like, up to the far wall and kind of climbing up, like, higher, trying to get further away from you. This one that was not turned is going to just fly right up to you. and it's going to just sort of reach out its wispy, ethereal hand and try to maddening touch you. It gets a 19 to hit.
And now you're John Madden.
Yep, that's exactly how it works. You have to talk about football for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So a 19 does hit, I assume. It does 17 psychic damage. This one, let's see, is going to try, it's going to dash flying up to sort of get in front of you, Vertigo, but it had to dash to do that. This one is flying up straight at you, Zinhorn, and it is going to also try to maddening touch you. It gets a 25 to hit.
That will hit.
And it's going to do 19 psychic damage.
19 psychic damage. Okay.
Remind me for the turn. If they don't take damage, it just still they stay turned, right? Like they don't keep making saves for that. If I'm correct, I thought so. All right.
No,
So,
for 10 rounds,
Yep,
unless
so-
they take injury.
yep, that's their turn. So Zinhorn, you are up next. This one is just right in your face now.
All right. Well, I am going to channel divinity and turn undead.
Okay. That one is going to make its own wisdom saving throw. It got an 11.
It failed.
Yeah, so that one is it. What does it look like when you turn undead? I should have asked that for Zaleen too, but we'll get to that.
Hold up my holy symbol in front of me and I slam it down on my palm and I say, "The power of Rashama repels you!" And it also takes 4d8 in radiant damage.
Yeah, this is seer undead, right?
That is correct.
All right. Well, it is not destroyed, but it looks very unhappy. Like the light generated by your holy symbol is just glaring out and burning parts of it away, and it's recoiling, and it looks like it might run away in a moment. Okay, that anything else for your turn?
No.
I assume you're not still grappling Lynn, or are you?
She seemed. Does she? I
She
mean, she
seems like she's
steady.
recovered now. Yeah.
Okay, so one's gonna move away, so I'm gonna move up 30 feet.
I think I'm going to rule, even though I'm not sure if it's explicit or not, I'm going to rule that because it's turned, it won't be able to make opportunity attacks either.
Okay.
All right. So I'm not going to make you make these checks, Zinhorn, because you basically can fly. So.
Okay.
All right. So Vertigo, that's you. Next, you have one of these things in your face as well.
And I think there's a moment of curiosity that's quickly overwhelmed by repugnance.
Yeah.
As the two sides of the face seem to repel each other. And then a stare of defiance as he takes a step and vanishes in explosion as I cast Thunderstep.
Haha.
So Thunderstep, it is, first of all, a Constitution saving throw for it.
Okay. They're not great at those. 8.
8 is not enough. So
I think it is probably resistant to thunder damage, but it definitely fails the save.
Okay, well, we'll see. First, it's 3 plus 1, so 15 points of thunder damage.
Okay, so it's going to take 7.
Okay. Now, this is where the distortion gets even worse on the map. But if we assume kind of, let's see.
Well, so how far can you go?
90 feet.
Yeah, I think I will rule that if you still want to be above steps, that you could be like right here.
Okay.
I think that if you were to go like straight down from where you are, I'm going to say that's more than 90 feet to the steps. So 90 feet straight down from where you were would be still like hovering above the steps,
Okay.
which
Nope,
you could do that if you want. But you like right there, you can be on a step.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So there's a loud boom as he disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Rumble of thunder, probably in this space, reverberating a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And then he moves, and then he's done.
All right. That makes it your turn, Zaleen.
I would like to reach out and touch Faith with Vampiric Touch
Mm-hmm.
at level 5.
Okay. Get him. So that's a 24 to hit. That's going to hit for sure.
And it takes 14 necrotic damage.
Alas, it is immune to necrotic damage.
Do I still get the half points back?
I think not, because it is how it's based on half of the damage
Yeah.
it takes, and so it doesn't take any damage ultimately. Alas, but yes, you feel the necrotic energy just sort of like passes through it, like as though it's just purely ethereal.
I don't like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's that.
It was such a good attack roll too.
I know.
Hmm.
Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Remember for next time, ghosts and necrotic don't mix, or sometimes they mix too well. Anyway, okay. So anything else for your turn? Are you going to try to move?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. All right, that makes it your turn, Lynn. You are able to move now, and although there's one of these things right near you, it's cringing away and looks like it's about to flee.
How far down is it?
I'm going to say 200 feet.
Okay. So in that case, 2, 3. In that case, I think I can get to there with regular movement.
Mm-hmm. Make a
And-
dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Okay.
14.
Yeah. You're all right.
And then I would like to take Zaleen's hand and use Dimension Door to go down to the bottom.
Okay. So, quick question.
Mm.
The bottom seems to have flaming portal and is surrounded by murky water.
I'm trying to figure out where the end of the steps is here.
So
Like
basically,
here?
like, yeah, you could be like the last step is like on the south, at the bottom
Probably
of
don't
that
need-
vertical door.
to get quite that close. So maybe say like there.
Okay. All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
Both of you make
Okay.
another dexterity save as you step out onto other stairs through the portal.
That's a good one. 28.
All right.
Dexterity.
Does she get a bonus since I like have her hold of her?
I'm dead.
No, but what is happening is you are holding her, and so what that means is that I will let Lynn make a strength save
Ooh.
to
Oh.
try to keep you from falling.
Aren't we
Sorry in
both like
advance,
super
Jenny.
weak?
That's a 5. Zaleen.
Do I get to fall into the portal?
No,
Fly
unfortunately,
back
you're
with
not
someone?
directly above the portal. But what happens is,
is
as you
flying.
start falling, well, you have fly, but this is this is a stumble moment, and it's happening too fast. This is a stumble, So you weren't like in control of yourself. You stepped through and were trying to step onto the stair. And as you are falling, at first it seems like you don't have that far to fall, but somehow the height of this tunnel seems to stretch out, and it's like you're falling much, much further and falling until all of a sudden the surface of this water is rushing up to meet you, and then you gasp and you are awake in your bed back at the floating castle. And
Ooh.
as you sit up, you realize you are like drenched in sweat, and you have Sequential and Brennan and Sorashana around you looking concerned, and you look over and your friends are like tossing and turning, also like covered in sweat, like they're having terrible nightmare. And then Brennan is kind of like, "Are you okay? We tried to wake you up, but we couldn't."
I'm fine, but I have to get back there. I have to. I can't leave them there. There's a portal and everything.
For the rest of you, as Zaleen starts to fall, she just sort of fades out and is gone. Like she doesn't hit the water, she just sort of disappears.
No coup.
Hmm.
That's not good.
All right, so that is now that was unless you have, I don't think you have anything else for your turn, do you, Lynn?
No, I think I've done enough.
You can't help it. We're both weak.
I mean, it's tricky. That was a combination of two bad rolls. And so Zinhorn, you are finding that the one that you turned is certainly fleeing from you. The two that had been previously turned by Zaleen are still turned. They don't like get over it or anything just because she's not, doesn't seem to be here anymore. But this one is going to fly up, and it is going to do that strange distorted babble at you again, and I need you to make another wisdom saving throw. Although I think honestly, you have kind of a ridiculous save for wisdom, being a cleric and all at your level. 18. Yeah, so I think that was actually not even a great roll, but that's still a save. So you get the sense that it's trying to get in your head somehow, but you are, with the power of Rashama, able to resist its influence.
All right, and the last one over.
And I'm moving. I'm removing your token, Zaleen. And then the last one is over here, and it is pursuing Vertigo. But even dashing, it can't get quite all the way there. Okay. That makes it your turn, Zinhorn.
All right, I am going to do the whole turn undead thing again.
Okay. Using all those channel
The
divinities.
power of Rashama repels you.
Okay. That one is going to make a wisdom save. It only gets a 14, which I suspect is not good enough.
That is not good enough.
All right. So yeah, that one is going to also be turned. And it's also going to take
13 points of damage.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And I still have movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I can fly. Can I fly down and just like end? I don't want to end my turn over midair.
Yeah.
No, that's a bad idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 is 30. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So, Vertigo, your turn.
So it's definitely coming after him.
Yeah, it is making haste in your direction.
Okay. Well, calm and collected is kind of orbiting it and will continue to sort of fly and dash. So 120, I have no idea how to measure it, but let's just say there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of circling it.
Yeah.
Again,
I'll say
staying
you
over
can
the
go
wood.
ahead and get to Lynn.
Okay.
All right.
Where's Celine?
I don't know. She just disappeared. She fell off the step into the water and just like she's gone.
Okay, first lesson, don't fall. Second, we'll find her.
So, Lynn, go ahead and take your turn.
Um. I think I'm just going to move towards the portal and not cast any spells.
Okay, go ahead and I guess you don't have fly on you still though, but so go ahead and make a dexterity save. I mean, you have a pretty
Feels
good
smarter to-
bonus for that though, so
Yes.
yeah. 26.
26.
No problem. Just like a little mountain goat hopping down those steps. Um, yeah, so I think you are making some pretty good progress. You were basically at the point where you could go through the portal. I mean, in fact, actually, since you didn't even like if you wanted to dash, you could just go right through it right now.
No, I'm waiting for the others.
Okay. So, Zaylene, we are still in initiative time. So you don't have like a long time here, but if so you are still though back up in your, you're in your bed. You recognize that, you've woken up. Everyone is concerned. It looks like your friends are still in the dream having trouble. What would you like to do?
I would like to try to go back to sleep because
Okay.
I don't want to leave them.
All right. Let's see. I
Make
think
a sleeping throw.
I know it's like you're so stressed out. Now go to sleep right now. I think that's hard. I will let you make a wisdom check. Not save, but it's a pretty high DC. And that's not to say that it won't work eventually, but it's a question of whether it works right away. I think I'm looking for a DC 25.
Oh, there's no way I'll make that the first time.
Okay.
I only have a +4, so even if I rolled a natural 20, it wouldn't work.
Okay. Well, I think if you roll a natural 20, I think it'll work. Otherwise, though, it sounds like, yeah. So, but you're working on it. So, like, you might get there, but it's just not in the space of a few seconds. And I think you kind of hear as you're trying to will yourself back into your trance. You hear there's like, didn't we want them to wake up? Why is she going back to sleep? But then, so we're back at these things. This one is turned. It's fleeing. The only one remaining that is not turned is going to make it to Vertigo this time. And it is also going to try its howling babble again. So that's another wisdom saving throw for you. Actually, I think it's going to be able to get... no, it's just... For this, it's just going to get Vertigo.
Okay. 22.
22. Yeah, you are able once again to resist its attempt to, stun your waking mind. And so that is the end of those turns. So, Zinhorn. You're muted.
Can I fall and then like stop myself before I hit the stairs below me? Or do I have to keep going down the normal way?
I will say I will let you do that, but it will take your reaction for this round.
Okay. That works for me because right now I'm just so far away from everybody. So that is my action for this round.
Well, I was going to say reaction, Meaning, if there was something else that was going to happen that would normally you would want to use a reaction for, you've used it already.
Oh, but okay. Do I still have an action then?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, if I do a lightning strike on that thing, I'm gonna hit Vertigo. Yeah. That's not a good idea. What can I do? If I fire, oh, I can just do guiding bolt.
Okay. Make an
Um,
attack roll.
Yeah, I need to figure out what level I want to do this at. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna do it at 3rd level.
All right. That's a 20 to hit. It does hit.
Okay. 21 points of damage.
21. This thing is pretty damaged by that. It is still barely holding itself together, but this strange sense of tattered rags are now like stringing apart and barely holding itself together. And it's also glittery. I use a different
Yep.
color because I used purple for the turn. Okay. Vertigo, your turn.
Okay, I think that Vertigo is going to carefully move away,
Mhm.
disengage,
Okay.
and then simply move or fly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Think
know
you
how
could-
far.
I think you could I'll let you get down to where Lynn is.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, like the two of you could both go through the portal on, whenever you're ready.
And spending 2 sorcery points. How quickly do these things seem to move?
A little faster than you could run normally.
Oh, okay.
40 feet.
Then this might help. Using a 2 sorcery points to speed cast Ray of Frost as a bonus action.
All right. Well, you'll roll with advantage because it's glittering.
23 to hit.
That hits, and I believe it is resistant to cold. It is not. It is immune to cold. But I will allow that the slowing effect does work, though.
Okay.
I didn't try to say it that way to be a jerk. I was really checking, and then I was like, "Oh, it's not in resistance," but then I saw that it was in immunity. I wasn't trying to like.
That's all right.
Yeah, but slowed by 10 feet. Is that what the
That's it.
All right. Yeah. So you see
That's the
that
effect I
it's
was actually
like,
after anyway.
Yeah. All right. Lynn, it is your turn. It's no longer glittering.
See, this is tough because we don't have Zaleen, and now
Yeah, you
I'm
don't know if it's like,
sitting
well,
at this portal.
do you go through or not without her? I think there is a recognition that is what as successful as those turn undeads were, it doesn't last forever. So you can't necessarily wait longer than a minute or so, or else they're just going to come right after you again.
Yeah, it's 1 minute.
But,
Well, people are only immune to fire damage so long as they can hear the song being played. So if Zinhorn doesn't come down here a little faster, go without him.
I'm
Let's see.
resistant to fire.
I'm just gonna use a cantrip on that guy.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna use Mind Sliver.
All right.
So it's a intelligence saving throw.
Okay. They are good at those saves. But that's a 17, I think.
18.
Aha! So that's a success. 13 psychic damage, and it screams and just sort of dissipates into dust.
Oh, those things are unpleasant.
Yeah.
But not immortal.
Nope.
Well, maybe. They might come back.
I think that there is, as it dissipates, I think just for an instant, Lynn, you get just sort of a fleeting impression of someone who once tried to break a great spirit free from a prison but failed and was driven mad by its failure. It's just
I
like,
didn't hear what you said.
yeah, Starla, whatever you said, we didn't hear it.
Oh, I just said that's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. So at least what I'll say for the moment is, Vertigo and Lynn are already right there by the portal. With nothing else attacking you at the moment, I don't think that Zinhorn will have a hard time getting down there. So the question now is, are you doing something else while you try to wait for Zaleen, or are you going through?
I don't know that we're gonna wait for Zaleen because, like, that. I mean, it seems like there's a possibility she might not show up, or it would start her all the way at the back, and like, I don't know that we can do that. So I would
Can you
say,
contact her?
yeah, maybe. But well, if she's asleep, I don't know if it'll work. Plus, she's on a different plane, so I mean, I can try, but odds of success don't seem super high.
So just to cut back to Zaleen, I think that you are in this attempt to try to just like force yourself back to sleep. I think just like sometimes when you have insomnia and you lie down and you close your eyes and then you just sort of immediately open them again because you just realize like it's just not going to happen right now.
It's futile.
Yeah, but you do recognize still that your companions here do still seem to be dreaming, but their bodies at least are struggling somehow. You suspect that you could maybe still help them in a way from here, even if you don't know exactly what they're seeing in the dream. But you suspect that if you were to do helpful things for them here, that might still be helpful for them.
Okay. I will actually. I'm going to cast. I have to look and make sure I still have it available. I think I do. Oh, I do not. That was a lie. Sorry. I'm gonna cast Aid
Okay?
on everyone, so they will all get 15 extra hit points. That increases by 15. So your
Okay.
total increases by 15.
All right. So I think there, while you are talking through this, trying to decide, can you wait for her? Can you afford to? Do you go through? You suddenly all feel kind of magically bolstered, and intuitively, you know it was Zaleen. Just your connection with her, you can feel it. You know what it feels like when she gives you healing in that way.
There. You felt that, right?
Not dead.
Are you really thinking she would ever die? I mean, she does considerably work for death, sort of.
Well, I had to talk her out of it once, so
Well, she's not choosing it today. She's here. Just quieter than normal.
run, Zinhorn, go.
like to
Yeah,
think
you're
that I
not
like-
really in standard initiative at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I would like to think that that I have Evan with me
Okay.
and we are like praying.
Yeah.
to our dark mistress
Sure, sure.
on behalf of our friends. Yes, we're
So
like
I know
rocking
that
out.
Does your eyeliner get darker the more you pray?
Yes. Yes.
give me a little taste of what this prayer sounds like.
I think that Evan has been practicing, like,
Mhm.
and he has been coming up with some really great ways to communicate with the Mistress of the Dark.
Mhm.
But I mostly just lead, and I asked that she pave the road behind my friends in shadow, so that they are always hidden from that which would do them harm.
Okay.
And Evan's in the background, like, yes, mighty Mistress.
Make a religion check with advantage.
Like every time they do some kind of like ritual, like Typo Negative is playing in the background.
Yes, every time.
For some reason, even though I don't really see any reason why it would be the song that just suddenly flashed into my head right now was Billie Eilish's Bad Guy. I don't know. I don't think that it's necessarily actually appropriate to the situation, but I just thought I would share that that's what my brain supplied.
It's
Anyway,
often Depeche Mode for me, like just reaching out and touching face. That's
Reach out.
yeah, I think it was mostly just like it's that early bass line part that. All right. Anyway, um, I think um, in the dream, the three of you are kind of having this conversation, and as you watch, as you look up, there was this strange, there's the fire from the fiery portal above, and it's just strange little bit like you weren't even necessarily aware that all those little faces were glowing just a little bit, but they all seem to be sort of muted as like almost a column of shadow has come down, and everything gets kind of a little bit muted and quiet. Um, above you.
Time to go.
Yep. So song it is, and into the fire portal we go.
Okay.
that wasn't scary. That was protecty.
50-50 chance.
All right. So Zaleen is not on here. As each of you pass through this portal, you suddenly find yourselves, even though you walked through, like you stepped into it together, you find that you are no longer standing together. You are in a strange, like, it is it's a mishmash of different parts of what looks like some strange alien temple, but the geometry is all strange. You look across this big space and you see what should be the wall for you seems to be the floor for someone else, and vice versa, and everything is rearranged. It's very Ashurian, or like the end of Labyrinth.
Like, hey, Christiana, you remind me of the babe.
Yeah. Which babe?
The babe with the power.
Oh, the power. What the power? What power?
Power of voodoo.
Voodoo?
You do.
Do what?
Do what?
Remind me of the babe.
Yeah, we did it. We did it, everybody. Um, but yes. So the. Oh shoot! Did I not? I didn't put the. I didn't put the image here. Hang on. See if I actually remembered to put it on here. Oh no, I didn't. I had a token in mind to be here, which I will just have to have be Theater of the Mind instead at the moment. We'll see what happens, but so even though you were together when you initially stepped through this portal, you find that you're each now emerging from a different version of this portal as they are spaced all around this strange environment. And at first, you don't see anything in the big central area of this space, but gradually, as though not like it's literally transparent and then sort of slowly fading in, but somehow it feels as though it is coming from far away and arriving here as though it was starting a long way away and just was coming close to you. But somehow that's happening in the center of the room, which I know it doesn't necessarily make any sense because it doesn't make logical sense what you're seeing. But if you imagine that it were clearly just wide open empty space and what it would look like for something big to be coming from a long distance where it's very small and gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it gets closer to you, that is what you are seeing, even though the size of the room that you're in shouldn't be big enough for that to happen. So it might look as though it started very small and was getting bigger, but it nonetheless feels as though it was far away, but it is drawing closer. And what you see is a horror. It is a completely incomprehensible creature of teeth and eyes and tentacles, and it is somehow wrapped up in glittering ethereal chains in a way that looks painful, like it's constricted and it's like bulging around where these chains are. And nonetheless, it has several sort of tentacles free and eyes that are blinking and looking around the room. And then each of you realizes there's an eye looking right at you. And it sort of burbles and roars. And what would you like to do?
Hold my hat. I'd like to go insane.
That's allowed.
How
Where-
big are these distances between us?
Yeah, it is.
Is there any way to
What
even
I'll
kind
say
of
is
fathom that?
it is hard to tell, but I would say loosely we can use the map to, what I'll say is you don't have confidence that any movement you might make will actually result in the predicted outcome because space seems very strange in this space. But loosely speaking, for things like ranges of spell effects and so on, we will still use the grid. But you have a sense that you could turn a corner and end up completely across the room for somehow in an unpredictable way. And I'm pissed at myself because I had a token all picked out for this thing and now I don't have it, and so I'm not sure how I managed to.
It's right there, Christiana. Can't you see it?
Oh God.
It's sneaking up behind you.
It's hard to miss. It's right there.
Everyone sees it, right? But yeah, so I can be looking for that while you all decide what you're doing, though.
I think I would like to try to talk to it.
Okay.
Don't judge things by their appearances, right? Like, hi, hello. We came looking for Kosh. I don't suppose you could direct us. Though maybe you're Kosh because we've never met them.
Yeah. Okay. So is everyone else just kind of letting Lynn take the lead there?
Yeah.
So that's easily heard from the distance we're at?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's maybe quiet because she's, across the room, but, I think you can hear her. You can hear what she's saying at least. Is that?
I can use. Isn't that something that
Oh, here, this will work. I have found a token that I think will serve the purpose here. It is not the one that I had in mind before, which has just, for some reason, disappeared from my hard drive when I thought I had put it on the map and everything, but that's all right. But how about this thing?
extra dimensional beings. You never know.
Yeah.
Like if you don't keep your eye on them.
Ugh!
Yeah.
All right. It's more buggy than I expected.
Well, it's because it's not the token I had in mind, but there you go.
All right.
Also, remember, as I mentioned, it appears to be like chained up painfully. But so Lynn has opened an entreaty here, um, and uh, so is anyone else doing anything to support her, or are you just letting her take the lead?
For the moment, letting her take the lead. Um, trying to figure out how to actually get close enough that I could help her if she needed help.
I have
So,
no idea what is going on, but I'm just going to reach out and cast guidance on her from afar.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check then with guidance, Lynn.
It's a D4.
I don't think I'm going to need it. Is that you said persuasion?
Yeah. You're good at
Look, a
persuasion, you
36
mean?
plus 4. That's
Level
40. That'd be
17
great.
bard good at persuasion? How impossible.
No, 26.
And a D4, you
Yeah.
said?
Mm-hmm.
27 total.
Put you over the
Alright.
top.
I think that it does not give you any sort of a obvious reaction that you can comprehend. It kind of like squirms and burbles, but it is sort of like its motion is causing it to kind of slowly rotate in place as it sort of hovers in the center of this space. And one of the tentacles kind of flails in a like very sort of specific direction that feels a little bit more intentional than the sort of seemingly mindless movement before. And you can make everyone can make a perception check to try to like see what it might be doing. I would say insight, except there's no way you can get anything like, Oh, look at that! It says this is a 31 from Lynn. I know
Something
Zinhorn
I'm
has
good at
ridiculous.
finally.
See, you have a really high passive perception, don't you, Zinhorn?
yeah, I do.
Why is your regular perception only +4?
That must be new.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it was something about how you had it before. Is when we made the new version of your character somehow that got
That
changed.
must have gone away. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm not. I don't remember how it had that in the first place, but it doesn't matter because Lynn got a 31. Lynn, you see that in one little tiny corner of this place is sort of a piece of furniture that you don't see duplicated anywhere else in the room. Everywhere else in the room, you see sort of the same archways and pillars and stairs and portals kind of like endlessly repeated in different like orientations, almost like it's like a fractal sort of recursive room. But in that one place you see there's sort of it's hard to see exactly from here, but you see a little stand of some kind of a piece of furniture that you feel like seems unique in the room. But you can't really see it from where you are.
I think we're meant to go that way. Thank you so much for your help. I do appreciate it. Is there anything we can do for you?
It burbles and squelches and squirms.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know.
So, without like visually, I think this artwork gives you the idea, but especially since you're not trying to fight this thing at the moment, I don't think we necessarily need to treat it like a combat map. So I'm not going to necessarily say, here's the square, and you need to count out your movement speed to get there. But I want to know, just generally speaking, how are you attempting to move to this space that's kind of a distance away from where each of you started? How are each of you trying to move through the space?
I have almost just gotten to Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
so
Well, you were kind of moving without us really talking about it, but that's fine.
okay.
I think I would go to the nearest like edge, like right.
Mhm.
Hold on, let me grab my guy. Come here. So I would go to like here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd put my, because this whole place is weird and it's a
Mhm.
dream, and like I see, can I see Nedry like across from me there? Vertigo.
Yeah, I think he looks like he's on the ceiling to you.
I'm going to I'm going to put my foot kind of over the edge here and
Mhm.
like rest it kind of on the side of the wall and see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe I can stand
Mhm.
on that, like if it's floor.
Yeah, I think you have like it's make another perception check.
18.
I think an 18 is enough that you're thinking it's possible that if you kind of just step out that way, gravity will kind of just reorient you.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it and see what happens.
Mhm.
Ba-doop.
Yeah. And I'm going to have you make an acrobatics check, but the gravity does sort of reorient you, but it's not a sensation you're used to. So, yeah.
23.
But you are graceful as a ballerina.
Just don't ask me to make a wisdom check.
All right. So you're kind of moving along with your sort of natural agility. Zinhorn, I guess you're flying.
Yeah.
Is your fly spell still active, Vertigo?
It would be, yeah. It lasts
Okay.
for 10 minutes.
I think for both you and Zinhorn, I won't have you make a check, but I want to just illustrate in the theater of the mind that as you are trying to fly, gravity is all over the place. Like it's one thing if you've ever tried to fly in a very sort of windy, drafty place where there's all sorts of updrafts and downdrafts and everything like that. But this is like, every 10 feet the gravity changes direction, and so you're kind of got a very herky jerky movement. But what I'll say is that all of you are eventually able to make it to this little alcove where it was pointing, and what you see there in that alcove is what appears to be a standing mirror. But
I think
as you are
this-
looking into the alcove, you don't really see your reflection in it much. It's like it's arranged so that its reflection is not currently pointing out into the room. It's like currently at turned to the side.
Well, I think this is where our new friend was indicating we should go. So I am going to turn back to our new friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to say, thank you very much. We're going to go this way. It was nice to meet you. I can't pronounce, I can't speak your language. Is it okay if I just call you Kyle?
There's a sort of a belching sound.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kyle, and we're gonna be on our way. I appreciate your help. And I'm gonna go into the alcove and approach the mirror.
Okay. So right now it's sort of just at a slight angle so that you could see that it was a mirror. You stand in front of the mirror and look in it. It's a mirror. You see yourself in it.
I'm going to touch it.
Okay.
Just
Dunk, dunk, dunk.
gonna boop.
Feels like a mirror.
Anybody have any ideas?
Several, but how do you see yourself? Are you shrouded once more in that darkness?
Oh, that's a good question.
You look just like any other mirror you've ever looked in.
What if I use my special squinty eye
Mhm.
things? my true sight.
Yeah? Yeah. True sight, otherwise known as special squinty eyes. Special squinty eye thing. I mean, yeah, this looks like this is a very strange place to be in, but it seems to be a mirror. It is not something else.
There's something that was, well, one of the lessons I wasn't quite ready to understand, I think, from Master Finster. I'm not really sure he understood it, to be honest. He had a lot of old books that he kept reading and referring to, and occasionally I think he just mentioned things to students to see if they would figure it out for him, and then he could take the credit for it. And not that he wasn't a brilliant theoretician. He was really. My point is, when you can't trust what you see, look at it from another angle. Out there, everything is distorted. What if we were to look at it in the mirror? Maybe it would be brought straight.
I was kind of thinking the same way, just not as pretty.
Brothers think alike, I guess.
Mm,
Can you help me move this mirror? I don't think I can manage.
Can it be
Sure.
moved?
Yeah, I mean it's not even that big. It's just kind of like a full length mirror on a like its own stand.
Given this place is like, it looks like a full length mirror. You walk up, it's a hand mirror.
Yeah. No. No, I mean it's almost disconcerting how ordinary and mundane this mirror seems to be.
So let's try aiming it out of the alcove and see what we can see behind us.
okay.
You do that, and as you have pointed it that way, and you are looking into it to see essentially the reflection of back out into the room, what you see is that in place of this horrible creature, you instead see a giant-sized humanoid figure with kind of a noble bearing, still bound in chains in a way that looks painful, but the room is also now sort of the non-Ashurian version of this temple space. And then as you do that, this giant looks to all of you in the mirror and just says, "I am Kosh."
Nice to meet you, Kosh.
Sounds better than Kyle anyway, I think.
It is important for you to understand that what you see now in this reflection is me. But what you saw before is also me. It is not a trick. Both are true.
Is it part of the nightmare corruption?
This is why I have brought you here. I must tell you a story. There have been many stories told, shared, lived. But stories imply perspective. I would like to tell you of a village of proud warriors who lived hard lives but eked out a life for themselves in the place where they lived. They built homes, they grew crops, they sired children, they lived. But into this life that they had made for themselves, a corruption began to seep in. At first, it appeared as a disease in their crops. Then it appeared as invasive animal species, horrific to behold, trivial to dispatch as individuals, but as time went by, there were more and more corrupted plants, corrupted animals. And before long, it became clear that these people were in a fight for their very survival against an invasion of nightmares. They did not always get along with one another at the best of times. And though this threat would seem to be something that could unite them, they could not agree in how to respond. And one warrior led the charge. He rallied the others to the extent that he could, persuading some but not all that this was a fight that could be won, and that they must summon all of their strength and devote all of their resources to holding off, stopping this invasion, repelling it, and returning their home to what it once had been. They fought bravely. They fought hard. But through attrition, one of his friends would fall, then another. One home lost, then another. And soon, it became clear to this one warrior that he would be the last. But still he fought on, sure that if he could achieve victory once and for all that he loved could be restored. And so even though he was the last, he continued to fight. He fought, and he fought, and he fought. But there were just too many. And one day, the hope that he had used to fuel this endless campaign, he could not bear it any longer because he could not reconcile that hope with what he saw before him, which was hopelessness and loss. And on this day, he began to curse that hope. He began to think it would have been better if he had not fought at all. But this did not lessen his hatred for the nightmares that had invaded his home, felled his friends, corrupted his fields. And so he took his weapon and he channeled all of his power into it. He locked his hope away and he set his weapon a magical fate. That even if he should fall, it would continue to fight on his behalf forever. Tell me who this warrior was.
A Titan.
Correct. Tell me what the nightmares he fought were.
People.
Correct again. Just as you look at me now, through another perspective, and see an aspect of me, it does not make my other aspect untrue, but it illustrates what I hope to teach you while you are here. That perspective can change everything. What is a nightmare to one is the beloved friend of another. And though hope can be one of the best of things, it can also lead to destruction and despair. I understand this is a difficult lesson to absorb. It has been a difficult lesson for me to learn. This story that I told you is not a parable. I exist only in the realm of dream because I am the Titan's hope that he locked away. I cannot be freed, for I was imprisoned by one who no longer exists. I exist now only as an echo of that memory. If I could change, I would disappear. But I have had a perspective from here that I think few of any perspectives in the vast cosmos could share. And I would hope that the despair that was left when I was locked away, which has become a poison in your world, could be seen another way and thus healed. I understand this is difficult. If you have questions, I will do my best to answer them. But as my story is difficult, my answers may be too.
So the Titan's weapon is still fighting, even though the Titan is gone.
Its war against mortal creatures is clever. It instills fear and then promises to release it. It makes promises and then keeps them in its own way.
Can it be destroyed?
It can only be seen in a different way.
I'm guessing that means not in like a whole bunch of little pieces on the ground. Um,
Has anyone successfully shifted their perspective to see it differently before?
There have been some that I hoped could come close. But thus far, any attempt I have made to communicate the full perspective necessary has resulted in unfortunate effects on the sanity of the individual. The best I have been able to do is to impart small pieces of the larger truth in disparate individuals, hoping that eventually they could be brought together for the larger truth.
Those entities in the last room before we came in here, I destroyed one of them that was attacking us, and I got this flash. It was so sad, of someone who had tried to free a spirit and failed. And is that one of your attempts?
I have been here for a long time. I have attempted to communicate with mortal creatures through dream. And you have witnessed the results of my trying to tell too much to any one mortal mind.
How many pieces do you think you could do it in?
I have come to believe that no mortal mind could comprehend the fullness of what is needed. But it may be possible through the concerted effort of multiple individuals. One of those whom I brought, sadly, to the brink of madness, conceived of a machine that could measure in a way that a mortal mind could not. But even he could not hold the fullness of that design. I have attempted to seed individual components of this machine to different artificers and inventors throughout the world. All but one have been built, but they are scattered.
Vertigo, didn't
We
Percival have
he had
pieces of the
the
thing?
dimensional loop and the far gear.
So Vertigo's not talking to them, but he
Mhm.
is talking.
Yeah,
Did you know of this?
I didn't, but it is fascinating. I knew they were connected, but I never would have guessed what the machine was designed to do. Honestly, it sounds important, but I'm a little disappointed. It's just to look at something a different way. But then again, looking at something one way or another can make all the difference in the world.
I would imagine through all the work of discipline that you did and your current situation, you might be more intimately familiar with looking at things a different way than any other being that I've ever met.
I suppose so, although a lot of my effort was focused and concentrated on maintaining a very specific way of looking at the world. I couldn't afford to let the pillar distort my subconscious's wish and grant something other than what I wanted. Maybe it's got a ability to twist any ordinary mind's wish. But I found the way to get it what I wanted. And it was at a terrible cost, but one that I paid.
Tell me, Cankers, did you ever have any inspirational dreams?
I had dreams. But my dreams were nightmares of what would happen if my people were to learn that what they are is just a speck in the rest of the cosmos.
So what you're saying is you had a perspective that drove you. One which, as you're quite aware, we see very differently. Interesting.
Granted.
And to the rest, he'll kind of look around and almost as though he's been kind of just, how you get focused on something and you're kind of just thinking and then just kind of look up and realize you're standing in front of other people.
Yeah.
He didn't know. At least he doesn't think that he knew. But there might have been guidance.
Zaylene, you're back in the castle with everyone else, and so your friends have stopped. Like they're not looking like they're in the grip of a stressful nightmare anymore. They're more at peace. They're not like tossing and turning anymore. But in what seems like a very strange sort of optical illusion, like even though they're laying there in bed, you can see them. They're in the bed. They're not going anywhere. You have a sense that you can't quite get out of your head that they are somehow traveling farther and farther away from you by the moment. You can see them physically, they're right there, and yet you can't quite shake that idea that they are being pulled away from you right now.
Is Sorashana in this room with us?
She has been, but when you look now, she's kind of curled herself up in like a little fetal position ball across the room.
I'm going to get up and go over and just sort of kneel down in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Sorashana, can you communicate with Kosh?
Um, she looks up at you, and her mask is kind of like crooked on her head, and she looks up at you, and it's clear that like she's not like got actual like tears coming down. She's not like actively crying right now, but she's just got that look like it could happen at any second. But she's just um, she makes eye contact for just a split second, which is even more than usual for her. Um, and she says to you, "You're the lucky one, but your friends are strong. Stay here with me." And she like takes your hand.
I have to go with them.
They're they're taking a terrible risk.
I know.
Uh, if you go with them, maybe you're okay, but maybe you're not. You're safe. You're safe here. I hope they'll be okay too. But I don't
But
know.
if I go with them, maybe I can make sure they are okay.
Kosh did ask for you. But then when you woke up, I thought maybe that meant that he didn't. There there've been so many that he spoke to, and then they weren't themselves anymore.
I
But
think that we have slowly been moving in that direction all along.
I remember he talked to your friends in their dreams when you all first came together, but you came later, and I thought maybe that meant you were different in that way, but I suppose if you're choosing it, then maybe it was always supposed to be.
I think so too.
I can bring you to them. But it's not safe. Kosh is not bad, but he is dangerous.
I understand.
Are you ready?
Are you?
She kind of sniffs and like straightens up a little bit and wipes her eyes and says, "Yes."
Okay. I'm ready.
You watch as she takes her mask off of her head and turns it around and places it over your head. And then when she lowers the mask over your face, you feel as though you're somehow like you're just being like yanked through a wormhole. It's painful. Like you suddenly feel as though you're being like pulled through a hole that's too small for you. Your body is warping in different ways, but you feel a great, tremendous sense of movement, as though you're being transported, and you get sort of a fast forwarded mind dump of the conversation that has passed so far with the others. And when you find yourself seeing this whole scene through their eyes, you see that as much as they have imagined themselves just having this relatively calm conversation, asking questions, serious, somber, sure, but just that, you are now seeing them lying on the ground, trembling, and having this conversation in sort of like feverish whispers. But they don't seem to be aware of the toll that it is currently taking on them. But you here now can join them and hopefully bolster their strength or attempt to pull them out.
I would like to try to pull them out.
Okay. So I would like you to make, I think I want you to make, pitch me a skill here for what you're, how you're attempting this. You feel as though you are, like you are very much in dream logic right now. So I'm not going to ask for like necessarily obvious real world physical things here, but you are sort of perceiving yourself as a disembodied presence in this, and you have recognized that their perception of the conversation that's happening is different from your perception of it at the moment.
Could I use, oh, I'm trying to figure out how that would work. I was going to say, could I use either survival or perception to try to show them the truth of what's happening to them right now?
I think perception feels like the right one here because this is so much about, you know, perspective and how you see things.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like you to make a perception check. And then I want everyone else who you're trying to wake. Wow, okay, 29, all right. Okay, so the mechanic I was going to suggest is that everyone else is going to make a charisma save to try to beat that perception check, but I don't know that. Can any of you even theoretically beat a 29 with a charisma save?
Natural 20 would get me a 28.
Wow.
I think
Natural
Lynn was
20
the
would
only.
have gotten me a 30, but
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's
I only got a 23.
how about this? I want everyone to make the charisma save, and if you get a natural 20, I will give you the choice of whether Zaleen pulls you out or whether you want to stay in for just a little bit longer.
Here's your favorite question. Is it magical? They did solve this in the new edition. Gnomes just have advantage on these three regardless.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and I think
but,
that honestly just simplifies it. Sure. Yeah, go ahead and you can roll that with advantage.
No.
All right. So it looks like did we get yours? We got oh, well, obviously I was waiting for the fourth one, but that obviously doesn't make sense.
What does Evan get?
Well, Evan is still
Evan-
up there in the real world.
He gets bored.
Or is it?
He's in my pocket.
Yeah. So I think that all of you. So where do you pull them to, Zaleen? You have asserted narrative control over the dream logic of this situation here. So where are you just sort of making them conscious of the perspective you're seeing, or are you trying to take them somewhere else?
I feel like they've gotten everything that they need to know.
Okay.
So I would like to try to pull them back to Denuthier.
Okay. Okay. So, I think then, like where in Dinethir? Just like on the mountain, or where?
Just in that cave
Okay.
where we were, where the monstrous giant
Oh,
was.
okay. Yeah, sure. So I think the three of you then were having this conversation when all of a sudden you have a sense that an irresistible force is pulling you away until all of a sudden you find yourself in that cave back on Dinuther, and Zaleen is there with you. And I'll go ahead and say that the three of you who were just having that conversation have 2 levels of exhaustion right now.
Oh, hi.
Wake up and be like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? Oh, we just, oh my god!" And it just like fall down. I'm
Mhm.
so tired.
I have
Oh,
so
boy.
many questions still.
Oh, oh, wow. What the heck just happened to
Do
me?
the others look like they did in the dream, or did they look like their
So
normal self?
to be clear, in the meta here, like I think that you would not necessarily know, but yes, you are all still in the dream right now.
Well, that was the only test it could do, is if they still appear to be.
Well, that's so. I guess what I'm saying is, you are all in the dream. So you tell me if your appearance would have changed.
Mine wasn't different before, so
Mm-hmm. Jaylene,
I
does
am
yours?
now I am now wearing black and white striped tights. I've got super awesome eyeliner on. I look like I just came from like a Typo Negative concert with my bestie Evan. Got little fun buns,
Mm-hmm.
black. They look awesome.
I think his self impression hasn't changed, so Vertigo probably
Okay.
looks the same as he did.
Mm-hmm.
Zinhorn is back to his normal height, but he's kind of flat.
Mm.
Big flat
He's
Stanley.
almost two-dimensional. Maybe an inch or 3 thick, but yeah.
So
You're the cardboard cutout among the characters.
I kind of like the idea, and feel free to correct me if you want to literally be like, like Jenny was saying, like Flat Stanley or something. But I kind of like the idea that it's almost like when in Who Framed Roger Rabbit you've got the tunes, right? In the sense that you look like a flat drawing, except that like someone could walk all around you and like see every angle. It's just that from any perspective they see you, you still look flat.
Right.
So it's not like they see the edge and it's like narrow. It's just that from any perspective you look like 2-dimensional.
Yeah, I like that.
I really thought you were going to reference the steamroller bit, and I was
Yeah.
Well, that is another
No,
way I could
please
have
no.
gone, but that wasn't what I was thinking.
Still scarred from that
Mm.
memory as a kid. Anyway,
And then when I killed your brother, I talked just like this. Anyway, that's not what's happening right now. What's happening now is that you're in this cave back on Dinethir. You're not sure how you got there, but Zaleen is here now.
Hmm.
kind of
You
look
guys
up
are all
at her
tired. I'm all peppy. I'm like, hey.
yeah, from where I'm laying on the floor, kind of look up at her. It's like, you look pretty cool. You should bring that
Thanks.
back later.
Strange
So-
shift in perspective to suddenly be lying on the ground.
Yeah, you were lying on the ground when I found you.
No, we weren't.
Oh yeah, you totally were.
You just thought we were. It's a strange thing, I suppose.
I think I need you to shift your perspective to my point of view right now. You were suffering. All
I feel
of
more
you.
suffering
From
now, to
talking
be
to
honest.
Kyle?
Is that his real name, Kyle?
No,
I think Lynn named him, and I'm not sure if that's a more dangerous, powerful thing than we might imagine. Names have power.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate for it to be Kyle because I realized only after I named him in and had a session on it already that I was naming him after a similar character in Babylon 5, which was totally
That's where I thought it might have
accidental.
come from.
Yeah, it was not on purpose.
We
Anyway,
were
Gosh.
all Kosh.
Oshkosh, my gosh.
canon now.
Yeah.
Turns out Babylon 5 is like it's a reflection from a parallel universe
He's
of
just a Vorlon. That's
Yeah.
what the Vorlon's true form is like. Whatever you think it is.
We were losing you. You were fading,
Hmm.
going farther and
Still
farther
asleep?
away.
Are we still sleeping?
Yeah.
Then why am I so tired?
Well,
I didn't think it was possible for one to be tired while they are asleep.
Maybe you just think you're tired. I'm also
No.
thinking it too, however.
No,
I
I
don't
can,
know.
Maybe if I shift my perspective, I can.
I
be
can
untired?
Nope.
barely have any
Hmm.
depth right now.
Yeah, you look really flat.
I'm feeling really flat.
Mhm.
Like I could just
One-
lay down and spread out and be a giant puddle of Zinhorn.
I wonder if I could take like a dream, like pull one of those like bike tire pumps, like just like out of my pack and just try to
Make
inflate
a
him.
make a charisma
Doesn't
check.
he just have to blow into his thumb? Is that how that works?
A charisma check.
Mhm.
Mm,
I think you try and it like you reach in and it's something else. It's like a flower or
It's
something.
like a balloon animal.
Mhm.
and it just goes.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
I'm used to becoming tired for knowledge. This was a little different, I suppose. And I still think there's lots more we could learn. Unfortunately, I think there's too much we can learn.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Who are you right now?
I'm wondering that myself.
Are you Nedry? Are you Vertigo? Are you Nedrigo?
Vertidry?
I think he I think you're someone totally new because neither Nedry or Vertigo would have ever said that I think that could be too much to learn.
I'm not sure when that happened, so maybe he's Wendigo?
Maybe.
Life
When
is
to go?
change. Knowledge is change. I should not expect to not change with new knowledge or perspective.
No,
No,
that's true.
you may call me what you wish. I will answer to it all. Or we will. For now, we have work to do.
How do
Nope.
we,
after a nap.
can you take a nap within a nap? That's like napception.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to try.
I think we may want to return to our own minds before. Being here
Yeah.
together is rather confusing.
How do we get back?
How did we get here? I
Mm,
mean, I got here in a very bizarre sort of way.
well,
Do we
I-
click
How
our
did you
heels
get here?
together?
Zaylene left via falling into murky water. I'm really glad you're not dead, because I really thought maybe I kind of accidentally helped kill you, and that was not cool.
No.
I'm pretty sure
Um,
when Zaylene dies, it'll be deliberately by somebody.
Deliberately by someone. Anyone. Sor Shona helped me get here.
Makes sense.
So
She didn't want me to come.
I think I can probably understand why. I mean,
We're
I
not
don't
the
think
first.
anyone would wish for their friends and people they care about to be in this whole general situation. Yeah. So how do you get out? Like, if you got here differently than we did,
I would like to try to reach up and like pull the mask off my face and see if I can do that.
So
Which that we watch with
Meanwhile, we
horror
just
as
see
Aileen
her
rips her face
feeling
off.
already.
uh, yeah, that so for the rest of you, you know what? I think that brings everybody out. So Zaleen, you wake up like sitting on the floor, having just pulled the mask off, and then realizing that Sorashana's got her arms like hugged around your waist, like head in your lap, sort of just like that sort of thing. And the rest of you wake up in the bed, but guess what? In your real bodies, 4 levels of exhaustion.
Oh,
We're gonna be napping for a while.
Mm.
It's like
Several
I wake up
days.
and I immediately just roll over and go to sleep.
I am so
Yeah.
glad we're finally home.
So interestingly enough, new exhaustion in the 2024 handbook is different.
Oh,
So
yeah.
basically, the way it works is just that whenever you make a d20, the roll is reduced by 2 times your exhaustion level, and your speed is reduced by a number of feet equal to 5 times your exhaustion level.
So basically, you're just stuck there.
Well, so
Yeah.
20 feet is at 4 levels of exhaustion, you reduced by 20 feet, and then every d20 roll would be reduced by 8.
That's crazy.
And yeah, and so I think that there is a recognition, feeling that you realize now that I think it is obvious to you at this point, just intuitively, that judge as you will Kasha's intentions, but it is clear to you that even though you didn't perceive it, that your very life essence was being drained out of you as you talked to him. But
And glad that you didn't catch me.
so you're all awake now, and
Time to sleep.
and you might need to get some rest in, but it's certainly true that whatever you learned, whatever you might decide to do based on this conversation, there's still a lot of things going wrong in the world, and you're gonna have to decide what to do about those too. But I think perhaps this is a good moment to go ahead and we can end tonight's session here, as you're all. I'm going to offer Sorashana brings you all in for a group hug. Does that seem like everyone likes that?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Too tired to
Oh,
resist.
All right.
Yeah.
And so I think that on that lovely image, we will end tonight's session, and we will have to return to find out what happens next for the Pocket Protectors next week when we return for more adventure on so many levels.
So many
Many
hugs,
levels.
and
exhaustion.
exhaustion.
Of exhaustion,
Mm.
yeah.
Naps.